Howdy. So, yeah, here we are. Doing this. It's gonna be maybe just maybe just the car talk today. That's kind of crazy. Because, fun factoid, your boy's going up to meet up with a client. What? That's crazy. Yes, he's like, coach, that's a thing I do. That's a thing I'm trying to do more of. Because right now I'm in a quite the position where it's like, I don't know, I can get people want to work with me. So I'm excited to see, how this overall little adventure ends up playing out. That's cool. I gotta make a little trip. For those of you who don't know, I'm from the West Michigan area. I'm not gonna tell you what direction because you might be able to find out where I'm from in that case. But I gotta go 30 minutes to GR. Am I coming from the east, the west, the north, or the south? You don't know. So yeah, and it's cool meeting up with the clients, like I said. And what am I going to be doing during this meetup? Well, we're hitting quite the nice pull day, and I'm curious because I've seen this man's physique. I'm excited to see how he looks IRL. I can't lie, like his frame is one that I'm incredibly excited to see, grow and stuff like that. Because plan of action is we're going to be doing a little bit of a such where we're going to do a prep together. Like, we're going to coach him through that, which I'm stupid hyped for. That'll be the best part, I feel. But the big thing for me is that, we get to have a little off-season together, too. So it'll be really cool to meet up with him. Because one thing I probably should be asking more of my clients, it's like, hey, what is your split that you are running right now? Like, what are you doing? And stuff. And then once they tell me what are they doing, I can then respond with, what the hell are you doing? Kidding. I mean, it's intriguing. So a lot of us, who are very much into lifting, very much us bodybuilders, us powerlifters, us just general fitness enthusiasts, we have a good idea about the science, rep ranges, set ranges, and all that fun stuff, fatigue. A lot of the general public, and no fault of their own, it's just the way kind of the stuff is, not more or less. It's just like people don't know. People are unfortunately not aware of that there are benefits to the idea that less is more, essentially. Which, I mean, on paper, it's kind of crazy. It doesn't seem like that would be the case. Like when you think of life, when you think of the things in it, the more you have, the better things tend to be. Yeah, and not really. So it's the quality of those things that makes life better, is what I want to say. That is going to be the non-official, official 2 cents that I'm going to put out there for that. And it just, the same thing kind of applies for lifting, Like, let's say, you're training, let's say for whatever reason, you got like 30 sets in a day. That's a hefty amount right there. That's, I think, more than honestly the average person does. But, let's use big numbers for hyperbole reasons. So, you got 30 sets here, and you're nailing them, and you're getting through them, but you are like, throwing yourself all over. The form's kind of trashy and stuff like that. Like, the intensity ain't really there because you're just trying to hit the number of sets. The quality of those sets, pshaw, you just have a number you have to hit. So, who do you think is going to get more out of it, more or less? Like, the guy who's doing a crappy 30 sets, or perchance the man who's doing a quite phenomenal 10 sets? Gonna leave that up to you, but from a very much scientific standpoint, very much from a I've seen it happen kind of standpoint, the guy who's doing less at a higher quality is gonna get more out of it. Simple as that, easy enough as that, which I think is great. It's very reflective of life, as is bodybuilding in so many other different ways. Like, you put in a lot of work to smaller things. Those smaller things are going to have more value than putting a little bit of work into a lot of things. And that's a bit, just a tad bit of a pickle I'm dealing with right now, as far as career choices and stuff like that. Because your boy's a substitute teacher, your boy works as a chef at a bowling alley, your boy's trying to be a personal trainer and open up a gym. I'm spread a little thin, I can't believe it's not butter. Wait, what was I gonna say? I say something about being spread. I don't know. Okay. But the main thing there is just like I'm kind of fighting for my life when it comes to working on the things I want to work on. Because I find myself, there are some some moments in time, days where it's just like, yeah, I can nail all this and it'll be great. Luckily, as far as the chefing thing and the substitute teaching thing, those are endeavors, not really endeavors, but those are things that, happen that I don't really have to put too much effort into. They're simply something that I show up, I do, I get paid, I leave. And there's no room for growth in those regards, in those kind of career paths, which kind of, a big L, I will not lie. And it's lame because it would be kind of peachy if there was room for growth, because I'd actually probably enjoy those jobs more. But the whole point of them is to, they are service jobs in which, like, you're there simply, like, to just make someone's life easier, which, is the service industry in a nutshell. But it's in a way that just seems so, Like substitute teaching I like because I can, vibe with some students and we can have a kind of very chill time, more or less. But then there are, the other days where it's just like, the students are quite bad and I just have to, hold the peace until the bell rings, and that just becomes a hassle. And then being a chef at a bowling alley, I'm essentially it's not a chef, I'm a line cook, so I work with the flat top and deep fryers. And nothing, especially as a kind of health nut and some stuff like that, being someone who works with fried food and all that stuff all the time makes me want to cry. Mind you, I do get a burger here and there, so I'm not perfect. However, like, it kind of hurts to make, these wraps that have the equivalent of, like, 700 calories for people who don't, work out or, like, know what they're ingesting. It's just like, oh, this might take, like, a month off your life in the long run, which I doubt it will. To be honest, I think the idea of just, like, you got to optimize your health in every single aspect, it's a bit much. It's excessive because, like a lot of things that, involve health, life, and things, age is pretty, genetic dependent kind of deal. And and it's a weird thing to think about because it's just like, you're older and stuff like that, but because it's in my head, the way I kind of process that whole idea is like, when you are born, your cells have a clock. Like, as soon as things, form and stuff like that, your cells, they got a timer going that just, starts lessening as you age and all that stuff. When things get older, they deteriorate a little bit and all that not so fun stuff. So, you got a given amount of time you're, like, kind of guaranteed to live right off the bat. And that's if you were to live life, like, completely perfectly. That's kind of the way I view it. Now, by doing things within life, we either, keep that, we can either, evidently reach that lifespan more or less, or we diminish it. There's no way, I feel, to gain extra life unless you're doing whatever that Brian Johnson, whatever that weird millionaire guy who's, like, trying to reverse age himself is doing. So the big thing there is, like, really, doing all this extra stuff, it's going to help. It is going to help. I cannot deny that. But in the grand scheme of things, the amount, like, unless you're doing something that inherently, like, afflicts on your health, like, makes your life worse, like, very substantially, such as, like, smoking, drug use, alcohol, all this other stuff and things, getting, like, injured quite terribly quite often, or, predisposed medical conditions, which, unfortunately, that's not much of a choice we can make, but that's something that a lot of people do have to deal with. And when you're dealing with those things, those take a chunk. Those kind of, beat up your system a lot more than other stuff and things. Now, if you find yourself stopping at McDonald's, like, once a week for, like, your entire life, I think you're going to be fine. To be, like, if our ancestors, like, even if you look back to, like, medieval times and stuff like that, it's crazy. Like, they were living in these huts dealing with the freezing cold. Like, they were living amongst feces and all this other bad stuff. But then, you'll hear people say, like, but Trenton, people were only living to their 30s. And it's like, well, not really. The reason the kind of average age of the time is so relatively low is because, guess what? If you were born in conditions which are quite bad, your chances of surviving when you are a little itty baby, not good. You are going to probably die. And a lot of kids did die, which is unfortunate. But with that, if you were born, into a kind of peasant family, and you somehow made it through all of the ickies that were around you, you were living into your 50s, like, pretty soundly, like, maybe your 40s and stuff like that. And it was a lot more, it was just, it's more akin to what we have now, because like once that immune system and stuff like that and your body gets developed and things, like it's just gonna be better. It is going to be better. So that's what we got going on there. So unfortunately, your red light face mask is probably not doing as much as you think it might. I mean, I think that's actually more of a skin thing, but even then, red light's weird. I don't believe in red light there. I don't really believe in any kind of like bonkers therapy kind of thing. Like, I don't know. I just believe in sleeping well, moisturizing, like taking care of your skin, avoiding the sun when necessary, actually avoiding the sun even when not necessary, because as a pale dude, as a lacker of melanin, I avoid that stuff, But yeah. So anyway, all that talking about genetics and age aside, let's chat about the gym, shall we? Yes. So today's plan is honestly like I'm just gonna take this guy through one of my usual back days, and we will see what happens from there. There might be a bit more spontaneous stuff and things, but I want to show them the ropes, and also I think it's really good. All my other clients right now are just online and like scattered across the United States. So that's fun, except, I can't like go check on their form. I can't like, meet up with them and be like, hey, let's do this and that. And I am more or less big old chillin' where I am. But this guy, luckily I can, meet up with him. It's only a 30-minute drive. And yeah, mind you, the weird thing is I will have to find a way to account for this in payments, because usually, I keep it, prices are relatively low in comparison to a lot of other people, and the reason why I do that, just because, I want people to get good. I'm trying to build up a resume and all that stuff, but considering I'm having to drive 30 minutes, and I'm keeping an eye on, my gas gauge and stuff like that, see how much it's going to cost me in gas, because the thing is, I need to be able to cover my gas, I need to be able to cover the day pass, so, I go and get in this facility. And then I also need to, profit, because it's an hour round trip, so that's going to be, if it comes up to half a tank, yikes. My car guzzles gas. It is crazy how that sucker works. But, yeah, we are making our way downtown, close to downtown, actually. But, yeah, it'll be nice, we're going to start off with some, lower back-oriented things and stuff. Mind you, this is definitely, I feel kind of weird going in with my back day in mind, for the fact that just I'm working on, my weaker points, but I mean, TBH, to be honest with you, this guy probably will get a similar treatment that I'm getting from my coach kind of thing, as far as muscle priorities and stuff like that. So I do be looking forward to seeing how, this whole ordeal plays out. And I'm really excited to head to this one gym, because, I look, he sends me the location, he sends me the name, so I look it up. And, I see the reviews and I go, 2 stars. Oh no, 2 stars. And I read the reviews, and first one, and this, I was very happy that this was the case. It read, or something like this, and I paraphrase, it's the energy is meatheads and bodybuilders. And I'm just like, yes, please. And I find it funny. I will never understand the insecurity of people who, it's like people are at the gym. Mind you, there are people at the gym for, objectively, or is it subjectively? They may be at the gym for reasons that are not so good of heart, They're there out of vanity. They want to look good. They want to look better than others is their mentality. Or, they think, they need to do it for their Sigma Alpha male syndrome, whatever you want to call it, superiority complex, God complex, whatever you want to call it. People will always do good things for bad reasons. However, at its core, it's still a beneficial thing. Being a person who goes to the gym and lifts, I think that's inherently a net positive to society. For the fact that it's just you're helping your body, work a little better. You're becoming someone that people can look at, then think, maybe I should go to the gym and work to get my body looking a little bit better. And I just think it's good, And if they have kids or something like that, or family, it's influencing them to live a little bit healthier as well. So I think the act of just doing any kind of physical activity like that, that has been shown to give benefits to health, because having muscle mass can actually help you fight off cancer. So do that. So yeah, I think it's a good old thing for society right there. And yeah, I think more people just need to be, and it's weird because it's like, I'd assume that person went to the gym who's complaining about there being meatheads and bodybuilders and all that stuff, but it's just like, you're going to the gym, like, there are going to be those kinds of people. It's weird, and it's like this expectation or something, just like, yeah, I need a safe space, or Planet Fitness goes, I need a something involving, judgment free. Yeah, and it's just like, no one cares. Like, straight up, not to be mean, but it's like no one gives a rootin' toot about what you're doing, and it's just like, you're so silly, and you come off as insecure for thinking people, give a crap about you, and that's so harsh to say, but one quote I've been hearing a fair bit lately that I vibe with a lot is just like, no one's coming to save you. And even though that isn't necessarily too applicable to someone complaining about there being too many meatheads and people in a gym, it's just like, it kind of equates like, no one's coming to save you, no one gives a crap. Like, seriously, it's just like, I don't know. I personally don't get it. I'll never get it. Like, when I started going to the gym and I was just, a petite little lad, it was just like, I never saw those huge guys. Like, do you want to know what I thought? I got to get bigger than them. Like, that was my initial thought. Just like, they're your meathead bro dudes, and I was there. I'm just like, I can't let this, these like balls of mass with like a lack of intellect be the best there is in this facility I'm training in, because like, I'm a big proponent. Having a great body requires a great mind, or if you have a great body, you should have a great mind. Because just like, if you look awesome, Greek god-esque, very much sculpted, it's like, that is simply just a shell for, a void that is the brain. And, if you have a great brain but not a bad body, it's just like, it is gold locked within your skull, but the appearance is simply one of, like, an ugly duckling. And this is not calling anyone small, ugly, or anything like that. It's just like, the value comes within from that growth. So, I mean, like, ugly duckling to the swan and stuff like that. Like, you grow, you get a little bit larger, you're the swan and stuff like that. So, it's interesting. It's really quirky. And also, I just, being in shape, being generally healthy, like I said, it's just good for society, man. It's better. The more people that are healthy, the more people will see them being healthy and think, I should be healthy. And it's crazy. The amount of DMs I've gotten being like, dude, your journey and just you doing what you do has been so inspiring for me. It's been so cool. And it's just like, you mean it? And I think it's really awesome. I'm very happy I can be like a inspirational dude to a fair number of folks, because just like, I never saw myself like that. I've always seen myself as just like, a guy just posting about lifting and, wanting to be one of the good ones and stuff. And somehow, some way, that has, that message has reached people in a way I could have never imagined. So, yeah, I mean, I really got this really, really nice DM the other day, and just like, it was so kind and so nice. And I really do, I wish maybe more people would DM me and stuff if they had questions, because I know people are out there and stuff like that dealing with, these other larger influencers who, don't respond, who are, maybe a bit of, douchebags behind closed doors and just not the most friendly folk. And it's just like, I don't know. I just know for a fact I'm not that kind of guy. And, there are nice people out there, and it is still, I think, more or less true that the nicest people, or, the people with the most, or, the most to give and, who have the most, that really can, like, resonate with and be grateful for that, will always be the most, they'll show the most humility and just be, generally kind people. And, I like to think I do that. I just, I think being kind and being courteous to others, like, is, once again, it's just a net positive. Even if you, like, you're talking to someone you loathe entirely and that you just hate, show them the positive emotions that they don't bring you. Now, mind you shouldn't do it with the intent of being like, oh, if I do this, then I will get something in return. Because that's not how life works. Whenever you are dealing with another human being, there is no such thing as a 10 for 10 transaction. Like, someone is always going to have to get more and will give more, whether it be, relationships, whether it be friendships, whether it be something like that. At any given point in time, someone will always be giving a little bit more than the other. And that's just kind of how the human thing works, because, we are the controlled variable in this case. So, I'm talking to someone that maybe I don't vibe with too much. Like, I'm going to give, instead of, contributing, like, the 20% I want to give to the conversation, I'm going to contribute 60. That way, my energy, maybe like, how I'm feeling, how I view the world and stuff like that, can just, be a bit more positive and maybe like show this person a nice kind of stuff, Okay, here we are. So, yeah, your boy ended up, doing the stuff and things he intended to set out and do, which in this case was train with a guy, train with a clientele. And shucks, it went incredibly well. And this is like my first in-person training session since like, February of last year, which, almost a year of no in-person people. That's not, for someone who is trying to be a coach, I was slacking a fair bit right there. So yeah, that is something we're now getting better at. I need to, what I need to do? Here's what I need to do. I'm going to tell you whether you care or not. I need to call some gyms and just be like, hey, I want to work. I want to train people. Hire me. Because, I'm a pretty legit guy, I like to think. A pretty fun dude, a pretty nifty lad. And I think good things come of being quirky. I think good things, come from being a upright gent. And that's what I do my best to do, gosh darn it. And yeah, it was fun. Like, this is like the first person I've trained that, like, I think really got bodybuilding to the level I did. Like, we were talking Olympia, we were talking, Arnold Classic, Pittsburgh Pro, like, this guy, he knows his stuff, and it's really nice because, like, a lot of people, they're bodybuilders, or so they say, but they don't really get the culture. This man, he got the culture, and it was really cool. Like, also, what was really cool, this man he does some social media posting here and there, and dude looks so much, like, larger in person than you would ever expect because of, like, his whole, like, recording setup and stuff. So it was really cool to see him, like, IRL. The man can also move some weight. He had me fighting for my life with some of the lifts we had today. So that's always a fun time. So sincerely, I actually enjoyed myself quite a fair bit, which, you don't see too often. I don't see happen to myself too often. So it's always a pleasant surprise when, you get to work out with someone, and it's good. It's fun. It's nice. And yeah, with that, it was a solid back day. And not to pat myself on the back, the man even told me, he's like, dude, you look so much larger. Well, not so much larger. I'm not going to give myself too much credit. But he was like, dude, you look bigger in person. And what was extra nice, he made my day by going like, dude, I'm trying to find, like, TikTok to show, my girlfriend, just like who I trained with today. And he's like, all your TikToks undersell how large you actually are. And like, bro, that meant the freaking world to me. I thought that was the coolest thing. Because it's just like, I'm always worried that, I always give myself too much credit, that I always am, larger than what I am, actually. And it makes me worry because, like, it makes me worry that, people see me IRL after, I kind of set up my tripod and, get all that fun lighting and stuff and things. But then it's just like, am I really what I appear to be? So to hear from someone who actually, does bodybuilding, wants to compete competitively, is like, dude, you're larger than, one would anticipate, compared to what you see on TikTok and stuff. That's just so nice. It's so great to hear. Because it's like, I don't see my, as much as I like, pose down, big muscle, beefy, small ginger man. It's like, I am not as confident as that IRL, to be completely honest. Like, I'm always, like, chronically a little anxious, a little worried. It's just like, what is people's perceptions of me? What's the thesis? Like, what do people actually think? So to go out, train hard, have some nice hearty chuckles, and just, have a good time. Like, it was fun. I had to get up early. I had to get my butt, like, down to a larger city, which I don't really like driving in larger cities. So this was just a good day of, like, doing things that I, need to start doing if I want to be successful doing what I'm doing. So overall, huge win. Like, and also this dude, like, stand-up gent. It was just, like I said, it's really freaking cool. And yeah, we're gonna be doing more with this coaching thing. We're gonna lay into it a bit more because I know TikTok is dying if it's not dead already by the time you're seeing this. And I worry for myself. I worry for my unofficial source of income at the moment. I would love. Why is that car right there? That's a bad place to be. But I would love to make coaching the big thing. It's gonna be a bit harder now though, because I have to do it through means that are not inherently very online. Even though it's like Instagram and stuff like that exists, TikTok was my big seller. That one was the big one where a lot of people became huge on TikTok and nowhere else, because TikTok you can become like a sincere, pretty baller person just by the fact of kind of doing your thing. Here we go. Ha ha! Don't fall over, tripod. That was a harder break than I expected. Cool. Okay, I've been safe. So more of the story. By this time, a video of me kind of repairing my little light should have been fixed, more or less. My tail light, it was not working as it should, but I fixed it. I fixed the part that was broken. But now the problem is that, it does not really, the blinker don't want to work no more. So it's like one thing got fixed. Everything else is now a problem. And that is not very bueno. And I gotta go. Here we go. Whee! Hup. There we go. Heck yeah. So, what did this back day consist of, gosh darn it? We started off, for me, I started off with some lat pullovers, some little bicep curls, and stuff like that as well. So it was like kind of a warm-up variation of a drag curl kind of deal. Nothing too crazy, just enough to get the blood a-pumping. And then what did I do from there, gosh darn it? Well, we went on to do a kind of a upper back supported little row. Then from there, lat pull downs. Then, reverse delt flies. Rear delt flies. So, a reverse pec deck. I was kind of thinking the same thing at the, same time kind of deal. No, the different thing at the same time. And yeah, from that, we went to a upper back oriented cable row. And that was pretty solid. That was, a usual little staple of my upper back kind of focused moves. And yeah, there are a lot of cars behind me, and it's kind of scaring me. But with that, did that, ended up with some dumbbell shrugs and stuff like that, chest supporting. And not to brag, your boy was shrugging around the hundos. Although these were like the really bizarrely big hundreds. So it was like the center of gravity was like, it shifted with every little movement on my hands, which was so annoying. But, we still got a good stimulus. Not the best that it could have been, but good enough. And yeah, it worked out with a client. And honestly, it's nice because the man's like his idea of how to lift and go about it, phenomenal. Amazing. Like compared to some people who I've had to talk with and be like, hey, you're doing this. It's not as beneficial as you might think. With him, he gets it. The lingo, all that fun stuff, understood. So it's literally just going to be like, okay, we want to bring out this a little bit more. We're going to just, swap this for this, and just easy stuff. And yeah, I'm hyped because I want this to be the case. So we're going to talk about it, speak it into existence if I can. Like, the goal is we both have a similar timeline for how we want to go about our shows. So there is a pretty good chance that we might be competing at the same show, just in, different divisions. He might be competing in Classic. I think I'm going to make the switch to Open. I think I'm going to do Open as far as, just general bodybuilding stuff goes, because, that's honestly what I see myself doing. That's what I see myself being successful in. Because, I'm 5'6". That's not too great. That's not too great, admittedly. For the Classic division, I feel like a lot of the guys who kind of run amok over there tend to be a little bit on the taller side. I know C-Bum kind of was like the tallest dude and stuff, but I feel like also considering how I'm built, I feel like just that Open, having the mindset of staying in that realm of just looking for that freakiness and size is going to be beneficial for me. Because, the longer I do the lifting thing, the more I realize aesthetics are cool, but being a unit is significantly cooler. So, we're probably going to actually do that. Just because you find the mentality of Classic, it's either people who, sincerely are, who are just, open bodybuilders who, the mentality of, a bodybuilder who just happens to be aesthetic as all heck. Or you have, your broccoli-haired, PJ-wearing little boys
who just think it's going to be easier because you don't need to be as large. When in actuality, some of those classic guys, whew, even in the natural realm of things, freaking insane. I mean, the guys I competed up against, like, oh yeah, there was no freaking way I was going to beat them. So, what are we going to do? We're gonna just lean into being quite the big lad, quite the large man, at 5'6". But I think it's going to be great. You know, we got a nice build at 5'6", definitely blockier, but, you know, a bit bubbly. Got some nice lumps and bumps of the non-cancerous variety that should end up helping me out in the long run things. And honestly, I just, you know, I wanna do that. Like, and I think classic, you know, it will always be cool, and it would be great maybe if I, like, you know, could do that. I mean, honestly, it's a dream of mine, like, to, you know, win a men's physique thing, even though that's like the most unlikely thing, but like also to win a classic thing than to win an open thing, because it's just like, it will show that I can more or less, I don't think because you win something you can like inherently teach people about it, but having that kind of on-stage experience and like succeeding in those realms is still quite invaluable, because it's just like, you know, I could train a guy for men's physique. I could do it, but I feel like I would suck at it, because then, you know, once we get to the posing side of things, you know, when it comes to classic, a lot of classic things kind of, you know, go into just the open bodybuilding. However, men's physique is very different for the fact that it's like you stand there and you look pretty. Except, you know, we got the wah and the arm rotating wah stuff and things. So, gotta be a little bit peculiar and particular about that kind of stuff. But I mean, like, the general basics of bodybuilding is honestly, especially the amateur level, the way it kind of goes for a lot of people is just like, what's my frame looking like right now? Or it's like that, or it's like, what do I actually want to compete in? And then the main objective is just to get shredded. Because, I mean, to be completely honest, until you get like to those like, a national kind of amateur show or, you know, a pro show kind of thing, it's like the little things about your physique don't really matter as long as you come in big enough and shredded enough. But then once you start getting into, you know, the higher deals where it's like, you know, we got, you know, the symmetry of classic, we got, you know, the proportions and stuff, and like, because at the pro level, an open guy just straight up cannot walk into classic, and a classic cannot, you know, walk into open. However, at those lower levels, you can do that. You could easily do that. I mean, heck, if you're gifted enough, you could probably walk into physique, open, and classic, and, you know, walk away with all three. Which, that would be cool, but I doubt that would ever happen for a guy like me. Mainly because, you know, I could probably hold my own in classic, but men's physique, dude, no. I mean, maybe if my back could get just a little bit more oomph to it, maybe, but even then, it's just like, I'm built a little too stocky for that, you feel? I feel. I know that much. But, yeah, so that will be, I think going the open's the best route. Also allow me to, you know, possibly, you know, do a show or two with a client or something. Although, it's like, I would love to have clients in the same show, but I really don't like the idea of having them compete against one another, because if it ends up like a situation where it's like one takes first, the other takes second or something, it's like, you like that other guy more, you helped him better, you sabotaged me, and it's like, I doubt people, I highly doubt people I would choose to work with would ever do something like that, but there's always that chance, and then that just becomes a whole mess, and I'd rather not deal with that, to be completely honest. So, we would see what would happen there, but I think, because, I mean, like, you know, you've heard Ian Valeri, for those of you who don't know, a freaking phenomenal open bodybuilder, you know, who competed at, you know, the pro level for quite a while, had a number of Olympian experiences, Olympia presentations, showings and stuff, and, you know, he's the stepbrother of C-Bum, so you probably saw him over on his channel or something like that, because assuming you watch stuff like this, you of course watching the goat, the bum. But essentially, like, you know, he would participate in the Olympia, and, you know, day of, be making sure Chris looked great for his Olympia appearances and stuff like that. So, I mean, mind you, hearing his experience and how tiring it got, I'm a little worried maybe for, like, doing something like that, because, you know, if I'm also prepping and stuff like that, whilst, you know, prepping other guys, it's just like, that could be a bit much. However, I think it could be pretty nifty, and it would be, I think, a phenomenal experience. Also, like, I'd have a partner IRL that I'd be working with to, like, you know, have that motivation, like, stay on track, hold the course, don't be a fat F. I try to keep these videos as PG as possible, but, you know, every now and then a little bit of a word slips, but that's okay, that's whatever. But yeah, I think overall, like, it would just be great, like, an experience to have that kind of, working with somebody. And honestly, like, I think giving myself it'd be crazy because, the 3-year anniversary of lifting would happen, and then I'd be competing again for a Natural Pro card 3 years and like 9 months after that. And we'd be shooting for the pro card again. Definitely would come in a lot more shredded, hopefully a fair bit more mass. We'll see how much we can accumulate in approximately a year. I'm hoping it's a fair bit because, like, it's weird. I have opinions on how my training, it's like, some of it was optimal and other parts of it not so much. So it's just, it's a time thing. We'll have to see. That is what we're currently working with, for, against, in the realm of, I don't know. But yeah, we'll see what happens. And that's the thing. I mean, a lot of people, they wouldn't even consider doing a show until like their 4th year of training. Not me, because I'm crazy. But no, it's just like I enjoy competing. I love the culture of competitive bodybuilding. It's just nice. I mean, like, a lot of my life, I had some like horrendous performance anxiety when it came to any kind of athletic kind of thing, or just like music oriented thing, where my stage fright and stuff like that, like when I, as a solo person, terrible. You put me on stage with an ensemble cast, because I did theater and I nailed that stuff. Like, I was a like partial lead in musicals and stuff like that, and I slayed the house down. I can't lie about that. But then you put me on stage in a situation where it's like just me and it relies on solely me to carry like the performance or athletics or something like that. It's not going to be the greatest. I cannot lie. So I'm hoping, actually I'm not hoping, I know, but like, I literally stood on stage in a Speedo, in a spray tan, in front of a crap ton of people, my own mom, which, interesting, feels quirky. But anyway, the thing is, like, being able to step on stage and just kind of show off what I got, like, me 4 years ago could have never, like, would have just been like, that's crazy, because, like, hell, I mean, even in locker rooms and stuff like that, I will, I'll strip down to the skivvies occasionally if I need to, like, throw on some shorts or something, but it's just like, you bet I'm, like, looking around, make sure, like, no one's eyes are in my general area or something. It's just like, I'm not that kind of guy. And then I've been saying this, I'm not sure if any of the clips I've posted, like, kind of talk about it, but the Gingerbread Man, that is a persona. That is someone that is as real as me, but only when I want them to be. And that is the gym bro extrovert who, like, is very into bodybuilding and stuff like that. And at my core, I am that. Like, you can't have this kind of alter ego without, having it within you, and I'll stand by that. But it's just like, that's just not my natural state. That's something I have to work to get to, because, like, I'm Trenton. Like, that's just kind of who I am. I like kind of, chilling around. I love, playing my guitar, playing my trumpet. I like, just being a dude who does stuff and things. And, I mean, the Ginger kind of is becoming more of who I am, which I'm very thankful for, because that kind of extroverted, fun, friendly, like, fun-loving guy, like, that's what I've always really wanted to be. And it's really cool that I now am in a position where, like, laying into that has become quite beneficial just for me financially and, socially and mentally and all that fun stuff. So it's cool to kind of look back and just watch that evolution of my self-confidence and stuff. And of course, oh my gosh, if the day I tell you that I have no fear in any kind of situation, I've become a pathological liar, because I'm scared of a lot of stuff. I can't lie, like, but it's just like, I acknowledge that I'm scared of stuff, and then I say, screw it, we ball anyway, because it's just like, when you're scared, you're inherently just going to be a worse version of yourself than when you're not. And I'd rather be, a better version of myself than, the worst. And I feel like a lot of people don't really realize that, or kind of lay into it as, as much as they should. Because, like, it's very hard to be scared. It is, no, actually, no. Actually, it's very easy to be scared. It is so easy to cower and hide under your pillow and stuff like that. But, like, what kind of life are you living if you're, fearing stuff and things all the frickin' time? Like, you have to be able to just, like, kind of think to yourself and be like, why am I scared? what would happen if I were to go and do this thing? Like, what is the actual result? And I'll tell you what it is. Nothing. Like, do the thing that you're scared of doing. You want to know what's going to happen? You're going to go to bed the following night, and you're going to wake up, and another day will happen. And you'll probably be scared again. But then guess what? You'll do the thing you're scared of doing. And then you go to bed, and then you wake up the next day, and rinse, repeat. And you want to know the craziest part of all of that? I need to stop hitting the freaking bumps, but you want to know the craziest part about all of that? Is that you're going to be fine. It's, and I know in a lot of moments, it seems like the world's going to end, life's going to be terrible, it's going to be horrendous. I still have those moments more than I would ever love to admit, but it's just like, it's happening less now because, guess what? I'm going to be fine. And I think that's a mentality more people have to adopt. Especially, like, a big thing I've had to kind of come to terms with is just, like, TikTok is ending. Well, shucks. But guess what? I have a pretty good physique. Around 6,000 something people have decided to follow me on, that platform. And those 6,000 people think I bring some kind of merit. Who's to say there's not another 10,000 people that just haven't seen me yet that, would think the same thing. And, I'm scared that I might not be able to recreate the success I've had on TikTok elsewhere. But guess what? I'll wake up tomorrow and it'll be fine. And that's a great thing. That's a wonderful thing. Because, Instagram exists, Facebook exists. Yes, the algorithms are such dog water. But, like, people still got famous. People still, achieved their dreams and became what they wanted to become on those platforms, even with those kind of hindrances. And guess who's going to be trying to do the same? This dude right here. I mean, heck, 60 subscribers on YouTube already. At least as of me recording this. That's awesome. Do you know how many people spend, like, months and months and months, of daily uploads, weekly, pretty consistent weekly uploads to get, 50? A lot. And I'm fortunate enough, I didn't have to do really any of that. So I'm going to be going out, doing my stuff, doing my things, and, yeah, it's going to be fine, which is really cool. And yeah, and once I get home, you got to whip up a new plan for this new client of mine. Going to do some more little marketing stuff. Going to reach out to some gyms, be like, you want a trainer or something like that? Or, maybe someone to refer other people to. Because my big thing is that I just got to put myself out there. Because the biggest thing when it comes to trainers and stuff like that is word of mouth. Like, you gotta, you hear it from a friend who heard it from a friend, or you just stumble upon them through social media and stuff like that. And admittedly, I'd rather have it be the situation where, a friend heard it from a friend, because that means it's like, I'm doing so good that people in actual physical conversation are like, yeah, this guy is very good at what he does. And I'm hoping, to lay into that a bit more. Also because, we've seen how sketchy social media can be here in the mighty, in the kind of cruddy United States. And so, I gotta find other means. I gotta put a bit more focus on the real world. As real as TikTok is and as real as my following over there is, it's just like, I've seen how easy that kind of stuff can be taken away. So we gotta be able to, maneuver around that and, come up with something a little bit more different, a little bit more quirky. And, nothing's more quirky than, reaching out to people and having in-person conversations. Also, I'm not going to say that, I look great and that deserves merit, but just literally the owner of, I went to a different gym today to work out with this dude, and the owner literally came up to me and was just like, hey man, what's your deal and stuff? And I was like, yeah, no, I just do this and this and this. And it was one of those situations where it's like, I have muscle. I'm actually an interesting guy. People actually want to hear what I have to say because I look good. And, maybe from that, I could get a couple more, in-person gigs and stuff. So, let's lay into that a bit more, shall we? And I also have this really fun story. I was working out with another friend of mine at one of my more local gyms. And, we were just doing some, pec decks, kind of, banging that sucker out. And then, we do that, and as we're kind of resting in between our periods, because, we put the men in menstrual cycle, shucks. But, we're taking our rest time. A lady hops off the treadmill, kind of, is getting ready to go, walks up to us and goes like, hey, I just wanted to say, when me and my boys were here, the other day and stuff like that, we worked out and you were here as well, and my boys walked away and, we got out of the building and they were talking to each other being like, oh my gosh, did you see how jacked that one redheaded guy was? And it's just like, I heard that and I'm just like, you gotta be, oh, that was so kind. That was so courteous. And it was wonderful. It was like actually a phenomenal experience, and it made my day so much. So, like, to have those kinds of experiences, just like know that simply by doing something I enjoy and like putting a smile on while doing it, and just like, you know, like, do you know how crazy it is to be like an inspiration, and just for people to be like, whoa, that's crazy, just by doing what you love? It is the most surreal experience ever. And to like have that happen, it's just like, I am someone. I'm not just, you know, the redhead on TikTok. I'm not just, you know, this aspiring person. I am that person, and I just got to live it more. Simple as that. So you want to know what we're going to do when we get home? We're going to do some dishes. We're going to do some laundry. We're going to, you know, edit some YouTube videos. We're going to do some other stuff, because gosh darn it, I'm a bodybuilder. I'm a competitive bodybuilder. I'm a personal trainer. I'm a bodybuilding coach. And those labels, those are people who do the things they need to do. So I'm going to go home and do the things I need to do. Simple as that. And a lot of people, you know, they'd be like, doing your dishes, what does that have to do with, you know, training people and lifting? I find that the quality of everything you do will affect everything you do. For instance, you know, if you're lazy with your laundry, you know, you might get a little lazy with your lifts. If you don't do stuff with intent, it's going to be easier to do other things without that intent as well. So as long as you show intent in every single movement you do, whether intentional or not, intentional intent, that's kind of a little quirky thing to say, but like, you're bound to find success, and it's going to be something that's going to be pretty baller to achieve. And it's like, I went through a very, you know, slumpy period the other day. I was feeling like dog water. I felt like a failure. I was tired. I was sleepy, and just like not in it. Days like today, where I go out and I'm able to do stuff and things, that's what makes life feel worth living for me right now. So guess what I gotta frickin' do? I gotta start getting out more and doing stuff. So we are going to be doing an escapade. Also, I'm a substitute teacher, so I need this coaching thing to start paying for itself by summertime, or your boy is going to be working in a kitchen somewhere, and he's going to be muy depressed, if, you know, as he weren't already. But yeah, we're working through that, gosh darn it. And it's going to be good. It's going to be phenomenal. Because it's just like working with people IRL. It's like, I am someone. I am someone. You are someone. We are all someone. We just have to decide who that someone is. Like, as much as I love the idea of like, you're alive, therefore you have purpose, that unfortunately isn't enough. You need to be someone who like makes your own purpose. And it's so weird, because I took a little philosophical class kind of things, like it's the meaning of life, the class, which discussed, you know, a bunch of different viewpoints on, guess what? The meaning of life. And I had this viewpoint on one of my midterm papers that was, the intrinsic value of a human has to come from other people. Like, I mean, there's no intrinsic value. Your value comes from other people. But then, you know, as someone who chronically moved farther away from being around other people, it turned into a situation where it's like, other people are not around me, so I feel sad. Where is my value? What is my value? And dude, having that kind of experience will cause you to reevaluate some things. So to put it mildly, like, I had to like give myself value. I had to tell myself my worth. And that has worked better than getting, I think, validation from anyone. Even though there are the days where validation is very sweet, it just happens a lot less for me now. So I got to find ways to validate myself, which I always saw as something that was just sad. And like, but now it's something that I find to be crucial. And I think a lot of people don't realize how crucial it is to have that faith and that belief in yourself. Because having people in your life, it's not a guarantee. It is a luxury like many other things in life. And being able to have those people around you that genuinely care, like, they'll be there one day, and then by maybe no fault of anyone, they won't be there the next. So you have to be able to, you know, kind of pick yourself up by your bootstraps and get going. Because a saying that I've learned to enjoy more, I might say this in the first portion of the car talk for today, but just like, what is it? No one's coming to save you. That's true. Like, you can have people within your life that help you, you know, get to where you want to be, but if all goes to hell, they're not going to be able to drop everything and help you. That's just kind of the unfortunate way of the world. So you have to be able to kind of do stuff on your own. And it's so weird because as social creatures, it's like we want to do more than that. We want to have people around us. I want to have people around me, but just like that's not a guarantee. So we got to be willing to adapt to situations. That got deep. That got pretty deep right there. But yeah, then tomorrow we're going to have a gnarly little leg day, which I'm honestly quite pumped for. Because, like leg day, schmeg day, I don't freaking know. And yeah, just going to make a couple YouTube vids probably. I got to make part 2 of the California trip, which I think that as I'm recording this has come out. So that'll be really cool to see how that goes. Feels really weird releasing the California videos as the fires are raging, but I guess, it's somewhat timely. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see the reaction from those like longer kind of vlog style videos. Because I would love to do stuff like that where it's like, let's go check out this location or this thing or do this stuff and things. Because it's like, if that kind of vlog style of, content can resonate with people and people can like vibe with it and, enjoy watching more than just the lifting, I'll do more stuff. Because, I like doing more stuff. I like recording stuff just for the fact it's like, I'm a huge fan of, photos, capturing moments because it's just like, I don't know, I'm a sucker for like when I have kids and stuff, or like if I have kids or if I have, extended family someday, or just like, nieces, nephews, I want to be able to like show them. It's just like, here's who Uncle Trenton was, here's who, your dad was and stuff like that. Like, this is the lad that, is that, because it's like, I'm really curious on like how my dad and my mom were back in high school, and all they got to tell me is their kind of more or less biased opinions on how they were and stuff, which I trust them. My parents are pretty baller, but just like, who were you really? Because it's just like, I obviously have my way of thinking of how I might chat with my kids, be like, I'm your father, this is what I was like and stuff. But in actuality, it's like, was I really that way? Was I really that guy? Was I, that dude? Was I who I says I was? I don't really know. Got a whole, no, I should be fine. If that falls on this turn, I need help, But yeah, like, I'm hyped to like show them who I was, and that's why I love social media. That's why I love doing TikTok and all the other stuff, because it's just like, one, they get to see the authentic side of me. Whether it's like I'm talking about crap that's happened in my life or other things, or it's like, my more artistic kind of little gym fun edits, or like my own little pose downs. Like, it's very unapologetically me, and I think them being able to see that is great. Because to be very real, I have not really seen it on, I've seen my father being my father, but it's like, I don't think I've ever seen him like unapologetically be him. I've seen him be, my dad and be this big old tough guy kind of thing, but it's just like, I don't know. I always feel like there's a layer I'm missing with him. And I would like, my kids to, know they have a dad, a padre of sorts, that just like is who he is. And I just missed a turn I really wanted to make. That's unfortunate. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to head into town. I'm going to fill up on gas. And I think with that, we're going to call this Car Talk video good, because there is a lot that I probably mentioned, more so in the second half, because that first half was me running on like 8 hours, but it was like a really rushed out the door kind of after I woke up kind of situation, so I was a little all over the place. So with that, my phone's also about to die. So once again, I appreciate y'all who have, who are on the YouTube, because by this point, it might be honestly the main thing that I'm focusing on. If TikTok is gone by this point, which is sad, but what you gonna do? All right, peace, love, and everything in between, my ladies and gents. Hasta la pasta.